Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Butts-Chester. You guys know who I am, and you know what I like to do on my show. Say it with me. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. The scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And that's what we want to do today. We want to get you fired up about my guest. I'll be spending time today with Tiffany Obeng, attorney, literacy advocate, social impact author, and founder of Sugar Cookie Books. So, you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get you a tea because we are about to get started. Hello, Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining me here on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here.
Yes, ma'am. I am so happy to speak with you today about the hats that you wear, and I cannot wait to get into that. However, I do realize that I might be introducing you to some new listeners out there. So, my first question for you is, tell us a little bit about yourself. What makes you you?
What makes me me? Okay, so first, I am Tiffany Obeng, and I am a lawyer by trade and a children's book author anytime that I want. I founded Sugar Cookie Books imprint, and what I do there is create career books and early chapter books that inspire, educate, and normalize our children, especially our Black children, and even more so our Black boys, because they are forgotten in literacy. So my work is rooted in the belief that if kids can see it, they can build it. I'm sorry. If they can see it, they can be it. And I write stories that help hopefully impact the school to talent pool pipeline.
Hmm. It is so important to have that representation, especially with our little kids, because they're still at that age where they're just soaking it all in. So you are definitely right there, and I like that you're doing children's books. Not that I don't like authors that write for adults, but making sure that our little kiddos are looked after as well. I love it. Now, Tiffany, your leadership is grounded in the belief that representation and access can change lives. Bravo. Please keep doing that. But when did you first realize how powerful truly this exposure was? And when did you realize that you wanted to be a part of it?
Oh, that is an amazing question. So, a little bit of my journey, I guess, is that prior to writing children's books and prior to becoming a social impact author, I was just a young kid trying to make it through school and become a lawyer. So,
Mhm.
I am the first lawyer in my family. That is my
Woohoo.
family and my family at large. And so I just was told from a very young age by my mom, by teachers, by grandparents that I was going to be a lawyer. I did not know really what a lawyer did, what that meant. And I hadn't met a real lawyer in real life. So until like
Mhm.
grade. And so I just knew it was planted in me early that I would be a
Mhm.
lawyer. And so I journeyed on that way doing what I thought that meant, which was making good grades, particularly in reading and writing, and going to schools and graduating, doing well there, graduating and going to law school. And so
Mhm.
as I continue on this journey of becoming a lawyer or being a lawyer, there's a little bit of imposter syndrome, if you will. So
Mhm.
not knowing a lawyer in real life until 11th grade, and then seeing on TV the lawyers there. You're thinking about the 90s, so the lawyers are white,
Mhm.
so old. They're always so persuasive. They always have the answers to everything. And
Mhm.
I'm like, but I don't. So does that mean, well, does that mean like this is, I'm not good at it? And so going through a journey and graduating during a recession, so jobs were just really picky and selective.
Mhm.
And so going through that journey, I found my way on a path of being in what I like to call alternative legal career, where I still can use my legal skills, but
Mhm.
not quote unquote practice law. But that felt like maybe I didn't quote unquote succeed as a lawyer until about 5 years ago. I had this epiphany of where I was able to practice at one of the biggest law firms in the nation that does the type of work that I was interested in doing. I applied to them several times when I was trying to, become a practicing attorney. I finally had
Mhm.
the opportunity to work with them, and then I realized lawyers don't know, like lawyers are people. Lawyers are people, and sometimes they'll
Mhm.
answer, sometimes they won't, but they're not perfect. So that's
Yeah.
when the lens of perfection came off. And so I said all that to say how the books tie into it is that when I first wrote or published my first book, Andrew Learns About Actors, it was
Mhm.
more about legacy. It was more about checking something off my list because, in addition to my mom telling me I would be a lawyer, she also said I would be an author. And so
Mhm.
I put out the book. It has my son's face on it, so it's his likeness. I wasn't making a stand at the
Mhm.
time, didn't know a stand needed to be made. I was just doing something that felt good. And
Mhm.
then as I got deeper into publishing, the publishing space, I realized that we do not have books that feature Black children, or enough books. It was like 13% at the time.
Mhm.
And they really don't have books that feature Black boys, and they really don't have books that feature Black boys doing just normal everyday things. They're going to be like, I don't know, have like athletes or something,
Right.
nonfiction athletic books for boys. And so that's when I said, okay, I can do something about this. And so 27 titles later, I have books
Wow.
featuring Black kids, Black boys doing
Mhm.
everyday normal things. And it's to hopefully be relatable, hopefully let them know that they belong in any space that they want to be, and let them know that their possibilities are endless.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, bravo. I love that you were able to take each situation and present it in its best way. What I have found is that so many people are able to take their law degree and parlay that into something else because it gives you such a firm foundation for so much in life. And I am glad that you two decided to move in a direction and not allow, the dip in the recession to slow you down in any way. So glad you continue to move forward. Now, speaking of moving forward, you have worked inside complex systems as an attorney, as an equal opportunity director. How did that experience, do you feel, help shape the way you discuss fairness or belonging or opportunity or even community? Has it had any effect on how you explain it, how you bring people into it, or even how you write about it?
Oh, yes. Okay. So being in those spaces and often being, one of the few in those spaces, you kind of
Hmm.
see things differently. So it was back when I was in my third year of law school, getting ready to graduate, that I came across statistics about the lack of representation or underrepresented groups in the legal field. And I was like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh, I want to do something to, increase the diversity within the legal field, right? But I didn't know what that was going to
Hmm.
look like, didn't know how to do it. And so that's kind of what started my trajectory to doing the type of law that I was practicing, and then the type of alternative legal career that I had and currently have. And so my way in using my legal skills is when I'm not at work, I use it in the children's books to again normalize the images of us.
Hmm.
So in my career books, Andrew Learns About Career books, we're seeing Black women, Black men as teachers, okay, in elementary
Hmm.
school, like preschool grade level. We're
Hmm.
seeing Black women as scientists. We're seeing them as lawyers. We're seeing Asian women as chefs. We're just seeing these different types of
Ah.
people in these
Hmm.
different spaces where they have historically been absent or underrepresented. And
Hmm.
so by doing that, when a kid is reading through it and their adult is reading it with them, it doesn't look unusual to see a
Right.
Black male preschool teacher. It doesn't look unusual to see a female biologist. Like it's just
Hmm.
is at that point. And then having other books such as Black Boy Hair Joy, which is celebrating Black boys' hair, as it says,
Hmm.
we have different representations of their hairstyles, the common hairstyles. So one of them is locks. And so to
Mm-hmm.
see a Black boy just skipping down the hallway, I'm not saying he should skip in the hallway, but skipping down the hallway with his
Mm-hmm.
locks bouncing behind him and his friend is walking like, big upping him, like his locks are so cool. So when
Mm-hmm.
they get into the workforce or the children who's reading it, not only Black children, but any child who's reading it or sees it, they see the locks in the real world and they're not it's not like a wonderful or wondrous effect. It's like, oh, I've seen
Right.
that before. I don't have to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
criticize it. I don't have to comment on it because that's hair. Like it's just hair, people.
Yeah.
And so putting out the images and stories, but not in a didactic way, is
Mm-hmm.
my way of merging or creating fairness, creating access, creating the belonging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you made such a good point there. Just the exposure to it. If we include it at a younger age for children, then it becomes just second nature for them. Then they truly are just like, okay, that's what my friend has, like his might be locked and mine might be straight. We both have cool hair. So you are so right there. If only we could expose them just a little bit younger so that they know that it's all okay to be exactly who God has created you to be. I love it. I love it. Well, Tiffany, it is time for us to take a very short break. But before we do, I realize that somebody probably wants to reach out to you, find out more about your services, and perhaps even book you for some type of speaking engagement. With that being said, what is your website? What is the best way to reach out to you?
So you can reach out to me at www.tiffanyobeng.com. So it's Tiffany, O, B as in boy, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, G as in Gary.com. Or if you're really interested in the books and Sugar Cookie Books, www.sugarcookiebooks.com.
I love it. Alrighty, everyone. Of course, you know the books are available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. We'll be back right after this.
Discovery. No, just a sec.
What would it look like if we listened more? Could the right voice, the right set of words, bring us all just a little closer? Get us to open up, even push us further? It could, if we took the time to listen. The most inspiring minds, the most compelling stories. Download Audible and listen for a change.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Butchester. My guest today is Tiffany Obeng, attorney, literacy advocate, social impact author, and founder of Sugar Cookie Books. We're going to jump back into our conversation. Now, Tiffany, I love that you are introducing to children careers, everyday joys. You are creating a space for them where they are allowed to be themselves, to be comfortable, and to see each person as authentic, even if they're just kiddos, right? Why is it important that we create this space that includes that joy in the story?
Oh, that's so good. So, what happens when you're joyful, when you're confident? It brings confidence. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm,
A more
mm-hmm.
confident individual, you start believing almost that you can do anything, and more importantly for me, that you can be anything. And so, for me, joy in books is tied to the broader mission that I have, which is to build and establish the school to talent pool pipeline. So we've
Mm-hmm.
heard of the school to prison pipeline, and we know that or they've said, and statistics have supported that by fourth grade, if a kid can't read, then they're building a cell for them. And so
Yeah.
instead of building cells, how about we create the books that interest, particularly our Black kids and especially our Black boys, to overcome that notion that Black boys don't like to read when they really don't have access to anything that they may be interested in reading in the first place.
Right.
So create books that would engage our children so they can want to read and so they can want to stay in school, because they also say those who are illiterate are more likely to drop out of school, and hence the reason.
Right.
So they can stay in school, and so we can achieve a diverse talent pool. I say we talk about diversity like in the workplace or lack of diversity in the workplace, but I'm like, you have to realize the pool that they're pulling from. Like some of it is on us as well, to give these companies, organizations, a diverse pool. And the only way you can do that is if you're staying in school, if they're literate, and if they are exposed to their future possibilities.
And I like how you said before that you also wanted to create a space where the books weren't solely about it- sports or entertainment, kind of like those typical spaces that we see when it comes to children of color and especially Black children. So I think that's important too. We have so many kids that are interested in like in the STEM field, right? Like we have little nerdy kids or little goofy kids or little silly kids who just want to be entertained or be edutained at the same time. And I love that you are taking advantage of that space because the other books are going to come, right? There's always going to be books about boys in football or boys in baseball, but to create a space where they know that it's also okay to go through emotion or to be happy and to be a boy and that be okay in the same space. I love that. You are doing so much. I'm trying not to, let my therapist hat jump in there, but I'm going, this is so good. This is definitely good stuff. Now, through your storytelling, I hear that you are building bridges, right? That you are building a bridge between literacy, community, and the future workforce. What has surprised you the most about how children respond to seeing themselves or seeing themselves reflected, if not from the children directly, but perhaps from their parent or sibling or caregiver? What response are you getting with that?
Yeah, so it is so cool, especially so I'm one person. And I say it like that because the career books, I'm hoping to become the Britannica of career books. But right now we're
Hmm.
on career book number 7. So only 7 professions have been explored because in my
Hmm.
books, unlike other career books, each book is about the profession. So you get a little bit more information about the career other than just a one liner
Right.
that other career books have. So anyway, so with that, when one of the books features or talks about a career or profession that an adult is in, then they're like really excited to share it with their child. Like, oh my gosh, first off, I'm like, this is right, right? I'm using those skills to research and figure out what their career is, and then
Hmm.
presenting it in a way that is understandable, engaging, and inspiring for the kid reader. But yeah, so I've had parents be like, my husband's an engineer, and so I read Andrew Learns About Engineers
Hmm.
with our son, and my husband was like, felt very, what's the word, appreciative, I guess,
Hmm.
of the representation, and the kid was inspired to be more like dad. And then we have community partnerships with organizations that are like legal organizations will order Andrew Learns About Lawyers for their events that they have with little kids because they understand the importance of literacy and exposing them to their legal career. And
Hmm.
so they'll go into the classrooms and read Andrew Learns About Lawyers. They'll and donate the book to the kids. They've also had I just recently started on the chapter book series, which is or collection, which is I call it Fairy Tale Verses, which is a retelling of classic fairy tales in a legal way. So the first one is Three Pigs versus the Wolf, and the three pigs sue the wolf for blowing down their homes. And so, yeah,
I
we've had
love it.
organizations get that for like mock trial, and then the way it's set up is so it can be acted out if you want to act it out. So I've had third grade
Yes.
teachers say, "Oh yes, we would love to act this out in the classroom. This is such a great tool or resource for our government unit." And so here I don't hear from the children as much, but hearing from their parents, adults, or teachers, or organizers,
Yes.
they say, like this is what we needed when we were growing up, or I love how you're doing this, and I love how it's featuring such diverse characters in it. And yeah,
Oh, Tiffany, that is amazing. That is lovely. That is something to be excited about. As you were sharing it, it made me think of how we used to be excited for the Schoolhouse Rock episodes
Yeah.
when they came on, right? It is only a bill. And to this day, we know in part so much about how government works because we can all sing along from the songs. We remember the animation. And it really hit home for us, and it brought it to a level where we could understand it and we were able to retain it. And it sounds like you are doing the exact same thing, and that's how children learn. uh, that is bravo, bravo. I hope that that really inspires someone else who might be thinking, what can I do? Or if I'm doing something different, is it going to be okay? Be your authentic self. I
Mhm.
firmly believe that God gives each one of us our personalities for a reason because someone needs to hear the story the way that you are presenting it. And that's going to be the catalyst to get them from where they are to where they need to be. So, oh, yeah, I love it. I love it. Now, faith for a lot of people is such an important thing in all that they do, and it helps keep them going. I want to ask you, as a founder, as an advocate, as a professional woman in today's world, how do you keep everything balanced with your creativity, with the heart-led work that you do, with your writing? How do you just stay true to who God has created you to be?
Yes. So, in this journey, and as I tell other people who want to embark on this journey, which is usually Black women, you attract who you are. And so, I tell them to always start with their why. Like, why are you wanting to do? We're talking about children's books, me and my clients or our peers or colleagues or whatever. So, like, why do you want to become a children's book author? You're going to have to know what your why is to sustain yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
when you publish a book and it just sits on Amazon or and nobody's checking for it, or if it does get checked for, but you start getting negative review or you get a negative review, it's gonna hurt your feelings and
Yeah.
it's very disheartening. And so if you do not focus on why you're doing it, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
define what success looks like for you in a certain space, for me, the children's book space, then you're going to be running in circles, running with your tail, chasing your tail and
Mm-hmm.
discouraged. And so for me, for balancing, that's what I do for myself. So like when I first published my first book, I told only my family because it wasn't, to me, it wasn't a big deal at the time. I was like, oh, look what I did. But as I continued on, I was like, okay, well, no, this is something like actually take the time to learn to market and things like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
once I started marketing, I have 27 titles, so every title is not going to be a hit. But, but and so you have to know, like, okay, well, you tried your best, and that one's sitting there for whatever reason, or maybe in person is great. In person is really great. But my
Right.
why is always to inspire, educate, and normalize. And as long as the books that I create is following
Mm-hmm.
along with inspiring, educating, and normalizing, and as
Mm-hmm.
long as the people who are seeing it is celebrating it or appreciating it, even if it's one
Mm-hmm.
person, then I've done my job and I'm a success. And so I'm always doing it scared. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, and I just do it anyway because I was listening to a reel earlier that was talking, or a video earlier that was like perfection is just another way to procrastinate. And I keep telling my
Mm-hmm.
husband, so you don't want to put out trash, but also you have to sometimes just get started. Um,
Yeah.
Me and my peers talk about Real Housewives season one and what they look like on season one versus season 10. So just have to get started. It'll get better and better. But so yeah, so balancing is just defining my why, understanding what success means for me in whatever space I'm operating in, and doing it scared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. I love that. I could talk to you for quite some while. I love your enthusiasm, but at the same time, so many times um when people are true to themselves, to who they truly are, not just the work that they do, but you could tell that you strive for your personal best in everything that you do professionally, personally, and that just kind of comes out in your conversation. I want to just encourage you to keep doing what you are doing, be it that it is in the legal field or in the literature field. Keep doing what you are doing. You are definitely inspiring the next generation, and that is so important. And when you were saying, with all of the books, some books might not be as popular as others. That is so true. Just like with any field, right? With the industries that we go in, there are some fields that are just a little bit more popular. But I love that you have not allowed that to discourage you in any way and just said, okay, that it is what it is, on to the next book. So I love it. I love it. Now, my last question for you is this. As we close, what message would you like for every child, for every adult, for anyone who loves a child? Because we realize that, aunties and aunts are important too, right? Not just moms, but our aunties as well, to hold on to about who they are and who they can become. What encouraging or nugget of wisdom can you share with them?
So I like to say, and I kind of said it in the beginning, is you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You do not
Mhm.
have to be perfect to be a leader. Leadership includes uncertainty, but you do have to have some level of courage. So that's doing it scared. But yeah, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful.
Mhm. Agreed. I love it. I love it. Tiffany, thank you for coming on and not only sharing about your books, but just giving everyone just a little boost of encouragement to keep doing what they are doing. Now, before I let you go, if someone wants to reach out to you or follow you on socials, what's the best way to do that?
On social media, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook and Instagram at Sugar Cookie Books.
I love it. Thank you again for being a guest on the show today.
Oh, no, thank you so much.
And listeners, thank you for spending some time with us here today as well. You could have been anywhere and you chose to spend it with me, and I thank you for doing so. I hope that we have once again enlightened, inspired, and empowered you. As always, may the Lord continue to shine his face upon you. May you receive his grace and his mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.